Welcome back to the channel, Bridging the Gap, Student to Engineer, where STEM professionals provide advice to students. So this video hits pretty close to home for me. It's a discipline deep dive into design engineering, which is what my daughter's majoring in now. So I've spent the last probably 2 years looking into this. As an engineer who's been around for a while, I think of design as being an activity that engineers do, not necessarily a separate division or discipline within engineering. So it is a different discipline now. If you've been around engineering for a while, it may seem like a verb and not a major, but we will get into what these different schools are and what design engineering is in the modern sense of the term. Right, so design engineers, like all engineers, identify, formulate, and solve complex engineering problems. They do that by applying the principles of design from a creative design standpoint and human-machine interface, which is two things that are not typically principles that engineers necessarily learn, although they are incorporated into some programs. But design engineers bring those elements in, and then they also apply the principles of engineering, science, and math, like all of other engineers, and they bridge the gap between creative design and technical design. They weave together strong design sensibilities, so they come with some artistic training, and different programs have more artistic training than others, but they all have some level of that. They also have the technical knowledge. So if you have an ABET accredited engineering degree, you're going to have the basic engineering knowledge and be able to design things from the technical standpoint, but also from the human interface. So they enhance, improve, and support the user experience with products, with software, with experiences. They're really the people who can tie the creative with the technical piece. So they do that by prototyping new products, building tools and infrastructure that allow design to operate on scale. And they also build user interfaces and product experiences while staying true to the design intent. So this is a lot. Just to give it a little bit more context, my background is in construction management, and I am a civil structural engineer. In school, I was taught how to analyze soil, how to design a foundation, how to design a steel structure for a building. All of those things in the background that people don't necessarily see or appreciate on a building. Where an architect goes to school to learn about color selection and the interface of that building with people, from the outside of it and the inside of it. The architect's the one that, similar to a design engineer, is going to bring the creative sensibility to a building. If you asked me to design a building, I might just give you a square box and it would stand up, and if it got snow, it would be fine. Got an earthquake, it'd be great. But it doesn't necessarily have that sensibility where people appreciate what it is aesthetically and can interact with it well. So if we take that into experiences and products, an engineer who understands fluid mechanics and structural mechanics might be able to design a product, but it wouldn't have necessarily any flair. It might not be the right color. It might not be things that people would look at and go, oh, I need that, or I want that, or that works for me. And so a design engineer is there to have the technical knowledge, but then also understand the people side of things and blend the two together. So we get products and experiences and things that people want and meet the design intent. So the career outlook is all questions because the Bureau of Labor Statistics does not recognize this as a separate discipline. But we have some hints into that, and we'll get into that in the video. Okay, so industry organizations, if you are a student, interested in design engineering, you absolutely need to join and participate as you can in industry organizations. They have usually very cheap student rates, and they also will have conferences, either local or national or international, that you can participate in and really get a good understanding of what that industry is, much, much more than you would uh, when you're in school or even when you have a job. So I've listed some here. There are no design engineering specific type organizations, although some of these have some of those words in them. But go look at them and see if there's anything that interests you. So ASME, Society of Mechanical Engineers, has a design engineering division. Because ASME is so huge, they have a number of different divisions with different specialties, and design engineering division has some really good research going on and meetings and discussions about design engineering. This is probably the closest you'll get to an industry-wide um, organization that can cover most design engineers. And the next one, Design Research Society. This is a highly technical, paper research-based organization that looks at all aspects of design. Very interesting. Um, there are some like fashion design type things in there, and a wide variety of subjects. And so, if you're interested in reading the latest and seeing what people are saying about design, that's a great place to be. These next two, themed entertainment and amusement parks and attractions. This is um, a big interest area for a lot of people. I know several people are interested in, being a Disney Imagineer or working on Universal theme parks, or designing things for Meow Wolf or other type of experiences where it's themed entertainment, or you've got people experiencing something. Those typically take an integration of creative people and technical people, and that's really where design engineers sit very well, coming with both sides of that equation. So there's these two organizations for that industry. Definitely take a look at them. I know that there are several student organizations for these um, industry organizations, so they do have active student chapters that you can look into. The next one is User Experience Professional Association. This is really the software piece of design engineering. So UX, you might have seen that term. That's user experience, and the software industry has definitely recognized the need for design engineers, people who are going to be able to bridge the gap between the creative and the technical. And so there's a little bit larger group of people within software that are calling themselves design engineers, or that the title is design engineer. Some of the schools that have these majors focus a little bit more on the software side, or at least have that opportunity. So if you are interested in the software side, definitely look at this organization, and we'll get into the schools in a little bit. Okay, the last one on here is a division of a larger organization, just like ASME. So this is ASCE, Civil Engineers and Architectural Engineering Institute. I talked a little bit about architects and engineers working together. So this organization is for engineering, but typically when we talk about architectural engineering, it's about wood structures, but a little bit more on this, smaller scale than, building a bridge or something. You're more looking at homes and a little bit smaller things. So if you're interested in the building side of design engineering, definitely check that out. Okay, so when we get into schools, I'm going to start with ABET accredited programs. If you just look on the ABET site for design, there are 10 programs. They all have different titles for their majors. But these are the ones where the specific major and the degree that you get is accredited by ABET and has design in it. So you'll see a pretty wide range of things here. There's a couple called engineering design or design engineering. Integrated design engineering at CU Boulder is at least gives you the opportunity to do more software type things. But there's a couple of these like Grand Valley State, Wichita State, Northwestern that are more focused on manufacturing. So if that's something that you're interested in, more product design, more like how do we manufacture something or design something so that we can manufacture it. You'll see human-centered engineering design at University of Michigan Dearborn. Although the principles of that are in several other programs that we'll get into in a minute. But to have a degree in human-centered engineering design is a pretty interesting thing that definitely was not available 30 years ago. I also want to point out University of Nevada, Las Vegas. This is definitely a unique degree, entertainment engineering and design. So the program here is focused on serving the Las Vegas industry, which has a lot of immersive entertainment, including shows and experiences. If you have been to any of like the Cirque du Soleil shows and Awakening and those types of shows, they are highly technical. If you just look at the stages moving around and all of the things that go into creating the themed entertainment that we're offering people these days, it's huge, huge. And so to have a group of people coming out of school with the skills to do all those things is pretty important. Okay, so other schools, these are not the ABET accredited for a specific title that came up when I was doing searches, but they definitely are worth looking at. And you can see these first three also have design in their title. So Northeastern, University of Washington, and RPI have programs that are related to design engineering, human-centered design, and they're really wanting to bring in the human element in the design part of engineering. And the last six on here, I actually got from the ASME Design Engineering Division. They have some awards that they've given to design educators, and they also have a committee of professors that are involved in that division. And I wanted to note the schools that those professors are in, because if the industry ASME Design Engineering Division is being led by professors, you know that they're going to be focusing on that. And so if you go to those schools and you major in mechanical, as far as I could tell, then you're going to be getting professors, at least one professor at each school, who's going to be focusing on the human center design engineering items of design engineering, of mechanical engineering. I could not find in these last four any major that looked like it was specifically for design engineering, but these schools have some sort of indication that they would have a program or at least some interest. And if you're interested in doing research in design engineering, there's probably research activities going on. Okay, so outcomes. To me, the most important part of going to school is to get a job. The reason you go to school is to get a job in that thing. And so we always look at student outcomes with these discipline-specific deep dives. We try to get a swath of schools across the U.S. with these majors. With design engineering, it is a pretty small set of schools, and so this is definitely not comprehensive. And I didn't want to pull out schools and just say, well, this is the results for mechanical, and they have some sort of design mixed in there. What I wanted to do was just show you the schools that provide enough data that we can display it here, but are specifically for design engineering or closely allied majors. So let's just start with the percent grads positive outcomes. This to me is the biggest thing. So if you've been in engineering, like I said, you might not have heard of design engineering, but at least the schools that we can see data, they're making sure that all their grads are hired. 100% and 95% positive student outcomes is really unheard of if you go look at mechanical, electrical, some of the more standard majors. You might get that in civil and nuclear, but it's really not something that's happening all the time. This is 2024 data, and so across the country we're seeing some numbers dip in the positive student outcome percents. So this is just a positive sign. If you have any doubt that getting a degree in design engineering will lead you on the right path, I think you should just look at this and understand that lots of positive student outcome rates, very healthy median starting salaries. Some of these median starting salaries are about $10,000 more than some other majors. So it's a good option. And you'll see on the, going back left, you'll see the number of grads graduating is really small, even on the big schools here. So what you're going to end up with is a department at that school, and they're going to be more focused on helping you get a job than if you were in a much larger major, and you might just get a little bit lost. I think you're just going to have a little bit more help, and they're going to make sure that you get a job, and you're going to get that job because these positive outcome rates are pretty good. Okay, but let's talk about where they go. Who employs these people? So this is a list from actual schools that shared the companies that hire their grads, and I'll just go through a few of them that I think are a little bit more interesting. So Bastion Solutions, what they do is they design and implement package handling and manufacturing handling systems for people or companies that are doing warehousing and packaging and those kind of things. So if you just think about a person working in a warehouse, they're going to have a lot of this automated where things are picked, products are picked, and they're going down a line and they're coming to a person who then has to put it in a box and package it. That person has to be interacting with all those machines, and so for the company who designs those machines and those systems, to understand the human element is very, very important. If you talk about some of these other ones, it's their software and looking at how they interact with people. There are also companies that do more of like the biomedical side of things, like prosthetics and those types of things where it's actually like really, really interacting with people. So just a lot of opportunities where technology and people interface, and a lot of very big variety of companies. And I know this list is short. It's just because of lack data. But what I was seeing as I was looking through this is, there really are a lot of industries where there's a technical design and it needs to be interacted with by humans, either in the manufacturing process or as a user, and the design engineer really can help out there. One thing, or some of the companies I did not list on here, but definitely are places where these people work, is the companies I listed earlier: Disney, Universal, Meow Wolf, and those types of companies. Okay, first job titles, nothing really exciting here. Design engineer, applications engineer, early career rotation engineer. It's always nice to get into a rotational program if you can, because it gives you opportunity to experience different things in a company before sticking with them. But the fact that a company would put someone with this type of major in a rotational program indicates they've got confidence that the person can move around into different roles and be successful. All right, so resources. I've listed several here, and I think there are probably a lot more just because um, traditionally, technical people have not been trained along these lines, and so there's a lot of opportunities for people to enhance their education. But Coursera has a few courses: Introduction to Socially Engaged Design, Human-Centered Design and Introduction. Those are offered by universities through Coursera, and they look very interesting. The Open University Design Thinking is a good opportunity. So I've listed ones that are free or that you can at least go to their website and learn more about, but um, any online training you can do for socially engaged design, human-centered design, design thinking as a system. Six Sigma is a good opportunity to Lean Six Sigma looks at how to improve processes. And traditionally, Six Sigma is all about bean counting and not the human side of it. But there's a lot of recognition that Six Sigma needs to include people and the input that people have into processes. So definitely a good opportunity there. And then Blue Dragon is a system that actually is really good at looking at how people are interacting with processes and may or may not cause issues. And so this is often used in highly regulated environments where there's a failure of some sort, and um, we need to look into why it happened. And it's quite often related to people, but there's also a whole bunch of other things in the background that are definitely important, our processes and how they're put together. So Blue Dragon as a system would be really good to look into if you're interested in design engineering. Right, so that is what we have for design engineering. If you have any comments or input, if you know somebody who's in design engineering and want to just share that so that we can all learn a little bit more about where they've gone, please leave a comment. If you're interested in design engineering and you're not really sure where to go, also just leave a question or a comment and we'll get back to you. But other than that, we will see you on the next one.